No man knows if he will celebrate next Yuletide as a king or as a slave.
Yuletide carols being sung by a choir, and folks dressed up like Eskimos.
Hey everyone, and welcome to TalkWord. This is the show where we get kind of nerdy about the English language. We dig into the meaning, the history, and how we actually use the words we say all the time.
And for today, we've got something really special for you. Since the holidays are right around the corner, we picked a word that you've definitely heard, probably 1,000 times. It's just full of that holiday feeling, but what's really cool is it's also packed with some pretty surprising ancient history.
Right? I mean, you've heard it in carols, blasting in the mall or on the radio, but have you ever actually stopped and thought, wait, what does Yuletide even mean? What's the tide part all about? Well, you're in the right place, because that's exactly what we're going to figure out today. Let's dive in.
Okay, so first things first. The best way to really get a handle on a word like this is to, well, break it down. It's kind of like we're doing a little bit of word archaeology here.
So if you just look it up in a dictionary today, it's pretty simple. Yuletide just means the Christmas season. Easy enough. But, and you probably saw this coming, that is just scratching the surface. There is so much more to this story.
This is where it gets really interesting. When we split the word into its two original parts, we find some amazing clues. Let's start with the easy one, tide. Now, in Old English, this had nothing to do with the ocean. It just meant a time or a season. You might have heard the word event-tide. That just means evening time. Simple. But Yule, now that's the real mystery. What on earth was Yule?
All right, to figure that out, we've got to hop in our time machine. We're going way, way back, long before Christmas was even a thing.
So it turns out Yule, or Yule, as the Vikings would have called it, was this huge pagan festival for ancient Germanic and Norse cultures. It all happened right around the winter solstice, the shortest, darkest day of the year. The whole point was to celebrate the fact that the sun was finally coming back and, maybe more importantly, that they'd survived the worst of winter.
And they had all these traditions, like burning a massive log to bring light and warmth, having these huge feasts, and decorating their homes with evergreens, things like pine and holly, which were a symbol of life even in the dead of winter.
Does any of that sound familiar?
Yeah, it totally should.
Which, of course, brings us to the big question. If Yule was this ancient pagan thing, how in the world did it get all mixed up with Christmas, a huge Christian holiday?
Well, it was actually a really smart move. As Christianity was spreading, the early church realized it was way easier to absorb old traditions than to try and get rid of them. So instead of telling people, hey, you have to stop celebrating your favorite winter festival, they sort of blended it. They merged the Yule traditions with the new Christmas story, which made the whole thing feel familiar and a lot easier for people to get on board with.
And that right there is the key. So many of the things we do at Christmas today, decorating a tree, hanging lights, having a big family feast, even the date of Christmas itself, all of it has roots that go way, way back to this much older pagan Yule festival. Kind of blows your mind, right?
Okay, so now that you're basically an expert on the history of Yuletide, let's bring it back to today. How can you actually drop this word into a conversation and sound, well, like you know what you're talking about?
Well, you for sure heard it in Deck the Halls, right? Troll the ancient Yuletide carol. When they sing that, they're not just saying Christmas carols. That word Yuletide is doing some heavy lifting. It's hinting at that deep, ancient history, giving the song this classic, timeless vibe.
So here are a few super simple ways to use it yourself. You can just swap it in for the Christmas season. Saying Happy Yuletide sounds a little more old-fashioned and charming, doesn't it? It's also perfect for writing in holiday cards. Basically, anytime you want to sound a little more classic and traditional, Yuletide is your word. So from now on, whenever you hear the word Yuletide, you'll know it is so much more than just a synonym for Christmas. Think of it like a little time capsule hidden in our language. It's a bridge that connects our cozy, modern celebrations all the way back to ancient Vikings, huddled around a fire on the longest night of the year. Pretty cool.
And it really gets you thinking, right? How many other words do we use every single day that are hiding these incredible secret histories, just waiting for us to uncover them?
Well, if you had fun on this little deep dive into Yuletide, then you should definitely check out the TalkWord mobile app. You can actually create your very own word explainers, just like this one, with a couple of friendly hosts to help you out. It's a really fun way to keep exploring the English language. Thanks so much for joining me today.
I bet there'd be a Yuletide homicide.
Make the Yuletide gay.